Awesome. Welcome, either welcome or welcome back to an LLM instance gateway meeting. We took a few weeks off between KubeCon and I think we had Halloween one of the days where there was a small agenda. And we probably will take next week off for Thanksgiving. But anyways, this is being recorded and uploaded to YouTube. So please behave accordingly, and we are following the CNCF guidelines. So with that all out of the way, we'll jump right into the agenda. It's relatively small. We were just going to give some project updates as to how the project is going so far. Also wanted to throw it out there, if there is anyone that has any real world use cases with dense LoRa specifically, we would love to use that data, not necessarily your LoRa's themselves, but how you expect your traffic to go, and we'd love to benchmark against that. So if there's anyone here with that, please reach out to me or whoever and let us know. You can reach out in the repo as well. And then we'll leave some times for facts and questions from, I think there might be some new people here. But anyways, as far as the project updates go, I'll say my piece. The API implementation is nearly done for the repo itself in our endpoint picker. I do have plans to have a referential implementation and Envoy gateway as to how a specific gateway implementation should reconcile on the API objects. So that'll get started soon. I expect sometime in December. But in the interim, you can kind of limp along and get the endpoint picker working so you can test it. And so I'll get a quick start guide up by the end of this week. So that's the updates there. We're also going to be focusing on productionalization of the repository. We've let some of the CI work fall to the side, so that's a priority of mine as well. I believe Song has an update. I think Song is here. I'll let him go.
Hey, I can talk a little bit about the benchmark. We had kind of collected some of the cases, and I would like to share a little bit of the progress. And of course, we would like to hear feedback on having more cases or making changes to existing ones. So maybe, do you mind giving me? I can just share screen.
Yeah, let me give you co-host.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right, you're good.
Cool, thanks. Yeah, so we kind of have this table of the benchmark cases. I can quickly walk you through the, I think we have 4 right now. And, if people have comments, if they make sense or does not make sense, let me know. The first use case is very, very simple. But by the way, so we have previously shared some, publicly shared some benchmark data, and some of the data will map to the cases here. There's maybe some slightly changes in the mapping, but we're trying to make sense of the benchmark and data and then try to map to real world use cases. So that's the motivation here. So the first one is really simple. We're trying to benchmark really just a single workload and basically a single base model using the gateway versus using the vanilla Kubernetes service, and see how essentially mostly the KV cache based routing and any other algorithm we're doing is taking any effect. So and here we're trying to make some suggestions on how to set up the environment, but that's a lot of details. I'm not going into that. And Colin, please interrupt me if anyone has a hand up or anything. I'm not seeing the screen.
Yeah, will do. No problem.
And the second case really about the multi-LoRa or dynamic LoRa serving cases. And this set of use cases is trying to have we kind of market this solution as a dense LoRa. So we have many LoRa adapters that share the same pool of model servers on the same base model. For example, in the example setup, we have like 12 LoRa adapters on 6 replicas model servers. And again, we try to benchmark. So each model server receive equal load of traffic. And we try to benchmark the performance in terms of throughput and the latency, and compared to, again, the vanilla Kubernetes setups. And of course, we would like also to expand this with different load balancers or different gateway solutions. So we have like a spectrum of different configurations, how they behave. And actually, so a little bit more details here. So we're proposing that I mentioned the equal load, like each model, each workload has the same load of traffic, and we could also vary this to kind of represent more, cover a variety of use cases. We have mixed load, for example, with low, mid, and high QPS. And yeah, so this is the second benchmark. And the third one is about, we understand that dynamic stream LoRa has its own overhead. So this is a very simple benchmark that we're just comparing the merged LoRa adapter versus dynamic LoRa adapter, just one single adapter on a single replica, and just see how what is the real overhead. And of course, there's multiple dimensions here. You can use different model servers. You could have different ranks of your LoRa adapters, and having this benchmark really helps us understand the overhead. And the last use case is we're trying to see, like, if I'm using a merge adapter right now, can you convince me to move to dynamic LoRa adapter serving? And what are other arguments and what to convince me to make that move? And we're trying to compare, a use case where you have many use cases. Some of them have very steady high traffic, and some of them have very sparse traffic. For example, your test workloads. And in such a combination, and hopefully this represents many real-world use cases, compare the multiple merge adapter deployment setup versus multiplexing dynamic LoRa adapter onto same deployment of model servers, and do you see any gain or not? So that's kind of the cases we have. And again, yeah, so let me know if you have any questions, and share this.
Oh, sorry.
Once we make this.
Ivan, did you have your hands up?
Please.
Go ahead, Abdullah.
Oh, I was just going to open, ask a question to the community. If anybody has evaluated like merged versus unmerged adapters and what their experience was on like the overhead of serving LoRa adapters dynamically versus merging them. I can say that like our experience, Kaushik can speak to this as well. We've noticed that with LLM, for example, there's significant overhead with when are merging. So merging the adapter provides more than 30 to more than 40% performance improvement compared to unmerging. And we're wondering if this is specific to the adapter that we're using or the workload that we've been experimenting with. We did raise this issue with the VLM community. The person who actually implemented the adapter, the kernel for dynamic LoRa loading, LoRa serving, they did confirm, they ran the same experiment. They confirmed that they are seeing what we are seeing. And so, yeah, I was just wondering if, same thing with LoRaX, to be frank, which is supposed to be like the best LoRa model server out there.
Cool.
Anybody uses LoRa at all?
What was that? Sorry?
Anyone uses LoRa at all, like on this call?
Sounds like potentially no. I think we can post this into the workgroup serving chat. I know Jiashin's team does. Hopefully we can get traction there. I think that's a great question to have answered. Cool. Yeah, and I believe Song will share a link to this doc that he shared in the notes, so we'll have access to that. And then I wanted to move on to Rob and Shane have an item. I caught the tail end of that meeting, but Shane, I'd love for you to speak to it. I think you were there for the whole thing, if you don't mind.
Sure. I'll only be on video here for a second to say hi. I don't think I've ever been to this meeting before. Oh, no, I'm not on video yet. There we go.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Shane Utt. I'm one of the chairs of SIG Network and a maintainer of Gateway API. Rob is my co-maintainer, and we were responding to your issue, which is posted here, number 41. Yeah. The request for an owning SIG, which it seemed like SIG Apps technically was the owner before, but there was some interest and potentially some good reasons to have it be a SIG network thing. We had that discussion 20 minutes ago, or roughly, at the SIG network meeting, where most people seemed okay with that if you wanted to be a SIG network thing. I think the current leaning, and I'll let Rob speak to this too, so is that maybe we would have something in the realm of inference routing and load balancing be a sub-project for some time to kind of govern this, as opposed to it like falling into any existing project. At least personally, I will say, I think putting it right into Gateway API might be problematic, because Gateway API already has such a large scope and so many things going on. So I think we're open to having it go in there, and Rob's going to write up some mailing list threads. We would like to see some maintainers come along, like as many people come along with it as possible, obviously, which I don't think is going to be a problem. But yeah, we wanted to give you that update. Rob, did you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I can hop in for a second. Just wanted to say that, you know, I think there's been some confusion about what this project is and isn't. One of the things I want to clarify is I think there's no intent for this project to ever be useful standalone. You know, like this is an extension that's meant to be paired with something. So maybe, you know, we can help with our README, our naming, etc. along that sense. But as I've been thinking about how I would describe what is in scope for this, I would say that this is really, you know, one, focused on an API that, you know, integrates with Gateway API that's focused on LLM routing. Two, a pattern for extending gateway implementations to make kind of endpoint selection decisions that's very related to one. And then three, some kind of reference implementation for an extension that can kind of pair those ideas together and turn the, you know, and validate our ideas. I think any one of those are pluggable, but I think, you know, although this is currently in SIG Apps, I feel like the closer fit is probably SIG Network. So I'm also supportive of this living in closer proximity to Gateway API. And I think the AI is overloaded right now. So action item on my side is to go ahead and send out an email to a few mailing lists. I'm in a bunch of meetings today, but I will try and send it out by end of day. That just kind of proposing this move. I think it's more of a formality at this point. You know, we already have a reasonably good home, but I think getting it a bit closer to where we expect it to live long term makes sense. So yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I think this is great. I totally agree. I think this fits well in networking and well with how we plan on this project working. It is absolutely not standalone. I think that's a great point to bring up. And the Envoy Gateway implementation will hopefully showcase that, because we do not have any controllers within the repo intentionally. We want to let the gateways handle it as they decide. But cool. So Josh, and sorry to spring this on you, but we were just discussing about the benchmarking of a LoRa adapter merged into a model versus unmerged. We saw some pretty significant performance hits when just comparing a single adapter. I think we talked to you a bit about this, but we just wanted to get it in this meeting here. What kind of performance hits have you seen when you're just comparing a single adapter merging versus unmerging? Because we think it's got about, what was it, a 50% latency impact on Teapot? Is that right?
For single, I think LoRa merge and merge, we didn't see like 50% performance like drop. I think around like 20 or 30, but it really depends on the models and the rank size and the GPUs, right? So if you probably, I think we can like reproduce on our side. If you can share the specs, I can also share our specs, so you can we can do some cross like validation. Yeah, so technically the kernel implementation should be not that worse. Yeah, I would say.
Yeah. Cool. That would be great. I would love to compare your numbers with ours. Looks like Song has a hand up.
Yeah. Thanks. This is great, Jishin. Yeah, we can definitely share and cross validate. Yeah, I was curious to know that basically the same question, like what kind of adapter model did you use? Did you like fine tune your own LoRa adapter and use any kind of optimization techniques, or did you just? So in our case, we just found something from like Hugging Face. We do not know if that's the fine tuning process need to be optimized to get a good performance or not.
Yeah, that should be okay. I think in our benchmark also used like one from the Hugging Face. We didn't use production like LoRa's for the benchmark. So the most important thing is the rank size. If it really depends on the, I think the higher rank, the higher overhead. So just leave an eye on the rank size. Yeah.
Right. Cool.
Would you be able to share that, like from Hugging Face, so that we can test it and the base model?
Sure. Yeah. Yes, definitely.
We did that on a very small adapter, right, Kaushik? It was just like 1 or 2% of the model size.
Yes. 7 ours was 140 megabytes versus this for a 7G.
Yeah, I think it's 160, right? 160 megabytes.
160,
I think the rack is 16.
Right. I used I think in the diagram I shared earlier, I used the like 64 rank size, which is the pretty large one. And right, I think probably it could be better, but I can share more details after the meeting.
Thank you. And just to note here that the VLLM version is going to be make a difference as well, because I expect that, like for older versions, maybe perhaps VLLM, like even for the base model, was performing worse, and now I'm concerned about like the pace at which base VLLM making significant progress in performance, but dynamic LoRa may not catch up, right? So I don't know if you share this concern, because if you're testing on an older version, I don't know, maybe things has changed in the new one. We were testing with the latest version.
Yeah, there's but the time I think you did the benchmark, I think it probably already adopted the latest version. There is one significant change is the original, like the Punica implementation has been replaced by the trading kernels, and but at the same time, around the same time, I do see some issues on the community side talking about the performance. But I did test against the latest version as well. So we probably, that's why we're talking about the benchmark like configuration set, right? Once we can lock the versions, we can do some apple-to-apple comparison.
That's great. I think it would be great for you to, like, I'm gonna send you the issue that Kaushik opened. If you can paste your benchmark setup, and we can do that on our end, and then like that issue has our benchmarking setup. You can replicate it on your end. Just make sure that we could probably reach some alignment here. And
okay,
maybe,
sounds good.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Sure, no problem.
Awesome. We have a few minutes left. I wanted to open it up if there were any open questions, anything like that. I know we have some newcomers. It might just be some of the folks from Signet. I'll give it a second.
Yeah. There's one thing I like to mention is I think recently we noticed from the working group serving perspective, we see the ownership discussions like keeps coming up for various existing or potential subject sub projects, right? And I think the working group like serving list also talk about whether it's possible to change the working group serving to a SIG to host those projects under the serving. If some of the, because we think some of the projects are probably more suitable to host it via serving under the serving umbrella instead of the SIG. So there's a discussion ongoing. So yeah, just FYI. Yeah.
Okay, good to know. Are there any significant dates to be aware of about that discussion, or is it still pretty preliminary?
Early stage, we try to give some updates probably in next weekly meeting. Yeah.
Okay.
Is this the same
Shane.
discussion we're having on the issue related to the LLM instance gateway ownership? SIG networking versus SIG app?
There's also the benchmark and some potential or close. There's some proposals, ideas on some I think new projects, right? And that could be an issue in future as well. So that's why I think this week we raised the discussion and how to better handle such cases in future.
Makes sense. Okay.
Shane, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, Rob, did you catch that bit? Because what I heard was there may be some interest in starting a new SIG rather than joining an existing SIG, but he has disappeared, I think. So I'll message him. I think it could make some sense to create a SIG that just kind of relates to AI ML, if that's what was being suggested. It sounded like that's what was being suggested. It's definitely one of those burgeoning topics. So
yeah, I think it was serving, but inference might be too tightly scoped. I don't know. That's I think that's for Josh and
model
the
serving.
Serving chairs to figure out.
Yeah, I guess I'm just using kind of bland generic words, but anything in this space, it could potentially, I mean, it definitely could, I could see a lot of people buying it as a SIG is, I guess, the better way to put it.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Then we'll kind of see, I'm sure some folks from the working group serving will get that email and respond. But yeah, that sounds great. Unless there's anything else, I think that's it for the week. Thank you all so much.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Hi, my name is Barun. This is my first Kubernetes meeting I attended, trying to contribute to the community, so I just wanted to introduce myself. Just a little bit about me. I have 3 years of experience as a software engineer working at an oil and gas startup, and I'm finishing my master's in petroleum engineering right now. I just sent Shane a message on Slack. Hopefully I can talk to you more about the working group you're in, if you're open to that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm open to talk. I think there might be some confusion. I'm in SIG network, but yes, I totally hit me up on Slack at Shane.
Okay, perfect. Well, hello everyone. Just wanted to introduce myself.
Cool. Awesome. Thanks all. Yeah, have a good one. We'll see ya.
Cheers.
Mm-hmm.